Evening everybody. Sorry, I'm running a few minutes late. Just getting everything together on my desk for you now. Okay, kick the dog basket out of the way. So this is the card we're going to be making first this evening. So just wait for a few more people to join while I'm getting things ready. Evening Bev, thanks for joining us. I'm running a few minutes late, so I'm just getting everything on my desk. Getting there, I'm getting there. What do I need? That, I've got that, I need a bit of that. Okay. Right. Evening Lisa, thank you for joining us. So I'm nearly there, girls. There's one more thing I want to get, which is over here. Right. Okay, I'm here. Right. So we've got 7 people on. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm so sorry about last night. I had a full-on day with the girls. We did lots of different things, cooking, jigsaws, Happy Land, you name it, we did it. And Darren came home from work and I'd got to the stage where I just needed to go to sleep. So thank you so much for being patient with me while I postponed to this evening. I do appreciate it. And I'm here ready and raring to go. We've had another lovely day. So, right, this is the card we're going to be making this evening. I thought I'd show you what we're making up front. I've used the new Ornate Garden suite, or some of the products from Ornate Garden. So Ornate Garden suite is a set of products that Stampin' Up have launched ahead of the new annual catalogue in June. And it's beautiful, I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed with the stamps, dies, ribbons, everything. Except the papers. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big fan of the papers yet. I haven't had a chance to play with them. So I've been going off on a tangent and using my own colours. And I thought tonight we would use these colours here, which are the 2018 to 20 in colours. So for those of you that don't know, each year Stampin' Up bring out 5 new colours that are with us for 2 years. And these have been around now for nearly 2 years and I do love them. I shall miss them greatly, but I'm very excited for what's to come. So we have Lovely Lipstick, Grapefruit Grove, Pineapple Punch, Call Me Clover and Blueberry Bushel. And what I love about them is they're all really bright, really vibrant. And sometimes I need those colours to take me away from the subtles that I love so much. So I have used this new stamp set called Ornate Thanks. It's a photopolymer stamp set and it's just beautiful. There's some really large stamps, which I've used the thanks one here. And then we've got this lovely script which you can add on as extras or use on their own. So let's get started. So just pop that up out of the way. And so I've got a card base here which is Blueberry Bushel. And it's a standard size card base. And then I have here a layer of Lovely Lipstick, which escapes me the measurement, so I shall just measure that for you. That is 9.4 centimetres to be precise by 14.3 centimetres to be precise. And then this one piece of white is just a little bit smaller. So let's pop that over there. Now I am using this stamp here, which comes from the other stamp set in the suite called Ornate Style. This one here is stunning to colour, but I thought that's too busy for this evening. So I've used this little fellow just down here, which I actually really, really like. And I shall show you. Just moving my trimmer out of the way, because that's my way. Evening to everyone that's joined us so far. So just pop that over there. So all I'm doing is I have this little stamp here, and I'm using Memento, which is our basic black, and I'm going to just stamp at random over this piece of card. Now I'm turning the stamp. I don't necessarily want the flowers all facing the same direction, so I'm just turning it as I stamp. Can you see? Just to get that impression that, well, that it's a bit random. There we are. So we'll just pop the ink back on there, and now I'm going to colour this. So I have the Lovely Lipstick blends. I have a light old olive, I have a daffodil delight, and I have a smoky slate. Because what I'm actually going to do, and what I think helps these flowers pop, is I've just drawn, I'm just going to bring this up to the camera, can you see the grey line around the flower? I think it just helps it pop. Anyway, so we'll quickly colour this in. So I'm going into the middles first with the yellow. This is all very random this evening. So we have these colours formally until the end of May. However, next week, the retiring list. So this is the dark, lovely lipstick, which I'm just going to go around the edge and highlight some of that detail with. So we have these colours formally until the end of May, but next week, demonstrators will see the new annual catalogue ahead of everyone else, and Stampin' Up will release their full list of products that are retiring. So because we know these colours will go, actually everything that goes with them, the papers, the pens, the refills, will sell out super quick. So if you have them on you have them and you love using them and you haven't ordered some of the extra bits that go with them, I would actually recommend ordering those add-on bits sooner rather than later, because they will sell out very quickly next week. I think some things are already on the low inventory list already. So like I said, if you have them and you want to keep using them, make sure you have those extra bits. So all I'm doing here is I'm going round some of the key parts of these flowers. You don't have to do this, but we have time, or I have time. So I'm just going around these lovely edges. Hi to everyone who's joining this evening. I hope you're safe and you're well, wherever in the world you are. For those of you that are here in the UK, did you see the news report earlier that we're carrying on as we are for the next 3 weeks at least? I didn't really expect any different, but it's always strange when you hear it first, well, not first hand, but you hear people saying it. The girls are very excited that there's no school, so they're happy. Better to be safe, absolutely, and I think he was right in what he was saying. If they kind of release the guidelines now, we could end up in a worse position with people rushing out and undoing all this hard work that people have been doing by staying safe, keeping their distance, and looking after one another, I guess. So I'm nearly there. It's hurting my eyes this evening. Normally I have my head about 2 inches from the cardstock. Evening everybody. I can see a few more people are joining. Oh Danny, you're late, or better late than ever, my darling. I hope you're okay. Nearly there. So Danny, and everyone that's joined, I'm just creating a lovely background. You can see the card that we're making on the right. I'm just reading one comment. Lucy wakes every day. Oh, it's so sad when they ask to go to school. I'm really grateful that it's not Emily's last year before she starts school. She's actually stopped asking now, because I think she just knows the answer is no. Right, so there we have, I've gone round with the dark, and now I'm just going to infill that space with the light. So although these are the same colour, they're two different tones. So one is the light, one is the dark. And the idea is that you blend them together. They are called blends. I'm glad you're okay, Danny. There we go. I find this quite therapeutic colouring in. Me and the girls have been doing lots of colouring in since we've been on lockdown. So the products we're using tonight, for those of you that are just joined, are from the Ornate Garden suite, which Stampin' Up have released early for us. It's going to feature in the 2019 to 2020. 2019? It's featuring in the 2020 to 2021 annual catalogue, which comes out in June, but they've given it to us 2 months early, which is really exciting. So this is a little stamp from the Ornate Style stamp set. And I've just stamped it repeatedly on this piece of Whisper White to create this background, and we're colouring it in. So this is an old olive colour, and it's the light one, and I actually think it looks really sweet with the pinky red. So there's lots of colouring on tonight's first card, and I'll let you into a secret. The second card I haven't designed yet, so we're going to wing it, but I have an idea of what I want to do. Okay, so there we have our leaves. So you see that's what it now looks like, which looks lovely, but I'm going to add this little grey border because I think it just lifts it all and makes those flowers really pop. So I'm just wiggling around, following the image. There we go. It makes me think of Kath Kidston, this sort of design. Does it make anyone else think like that? Or is it just me? Around. So hands up who has actually got some crafting time in this week. I find that crafting time is the one thing that's really keeping me sane right now. So this takes a bit of time, but I think it's worth it. Yes, Kath Kidston. Oh, Jo, you've made it on. Lovely to see you. Very Kath Kidston-y. Did you see the news reports last week that it's potentially struggling? Now, I would be very, very sad if that company was no longer with us. Very, very sad. I adore their bags, their clothes, their children's ranges, absolutely everything. So I'd be really, really gutted. Does give a shadow, Jo. That's the kind of expression I had in my head but couldn't think of the words to use. So thank you for that. I hope you're well. I hope you're staying nice and safe. So, okay, so there we have our little grey outline around our flowers, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to just add this to our layer. So I'm using a layer of lovely lipstick with a bit of Tombow. And we can pop that on there like so. Okay. And then this can go on the front of our card. So this is a standard C6 card, which you can get 2 of out of an A4 sheet of cardstock. Oh, you crafted today, Jo. What did you craft? Did you do cards? Did you do... You make lovely 3D projects. Or what did you do? Tell us all about it. Okay, so there we have our card base with our patterned paper that we've created attached. And now we're going to go in with our... These are the Stitched So Sweetly dies. And I have this one here. Where is the other one? It's on my desk, of course it is. So I'm going to die cut those out. So I have a piece of lovely lipstick, which I'm going to die cut from the lovely lipstick. Sorry. I have a piece of lovely lipstick which I'm going to die cut the biggest piece from. And I'm just running that through the Big Shot. I'm not going to lift the Big Shot on because it makes the camera shake. But I will show you what it looks like. Oh no, I've done it out of red lovely lipstick and it should be out of Blueberry Bushel. But let's do something different, shall we? So we're going to cut this one out of a piece of Whisper White. So these all layer in together. And they look quite effective when they're all layered. And these dies are in the new January to June mini catalogue, which is running until the end of June. Put this up. Right. Here we are. So there we have that one there, and that one fits just nicely inside of the larger one. Now this one here, I have this triple hole punch, which is really sweet. So it comes with a corner punch. It's got this lovely little fluted floral edge, and then this hole here, which I'm going to use to cut the hole in this tag like so. And that's not very straight. It's not very straight, but we can hide that. So the idea is that that goes in there and that goes in there like so. And then I have some of the crinkle seam binding ribbon. Okay. And then this one I'm going to colour. Oh, that sounds great, Jo. You've had a really busy day. Pumpkin pie, night of navy and old olive. Oh, that sounds good, like good colours. So this is white crinkle seam binding ribbon, and I'm going to colour it using the lovely lipstick blend. And all you do is you just run it along the edge. You can see it dyes the ribbon beautifully, and actually, because they're alcohol markers, they dry relatively quickly. I did this the other day with a Stampin' Right marker and it ended up in such a mess. So you can see that's really has lifted that colour. It's absorbed it all. It's really nice. So I'll just chop that bit off because I think that's all we need. And actually I am going to cut that out of the blue because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a lovely lipstick overload. But hey, I can use that die cut on another one. Bev, you hope the ribbon is in the new catalogue. Oh, let's hope so. Let's hope so. It's been quite popular, so potentially it could be in there. Right, so let's try this again. Perhaps we'll do it that way. I did this perfectly when I made this card. There, that's better. That's pretty awesome actually. Right, and then we have, that looks better, doesn't it? Rather than, it will just be red overload. Okay, so we'll put that there. Now we'll do some stamping. So I'm going to bring in the Blueberry Bushel ink pad, which is the same colour as the card base, and we'll stamp that about there. Lovely. And then I'm going to go in with an extra sentiment. So I've stamped my friend on there, so we'll do that as well. And I already have that on a block, like so. And this is being stamped with lovely lipstick. So all the colours just coordinate. Really, really lovely. Like so. So thanks, my friend. And then we can now stick that to our banner. And then I will show you what I'm going to do with the ribbon. Just going to grab some dimensionals. Right, so the ribbon, what we're going to do is we're going to feed it just through the hole. Getting in a muddle now, what was I doing? Had a brain moment there, brain freeze. Right, here we go. So the idea is that then goes round there like so, and then we secure it with a bow there. What I find helpful is to actually stick it to our card before we tie it. So I'm just using the edges of these dimensionals and I'm popping that across the ribbon. The idea being that keeps it nice and secure and it helps when you tie it. So that is going onto our card front like so. And then now we can tie this in a lovely little bow. There we have it. So there we have our little bow. Just trim your tails down so that you're happy with it. I've actually managed to tie a bow this time. So there we have our thanks, my friend. And then to finish, I'm just going to add another little flower to bring it all together. So that we're going to go round. That's our light. We've got the dark, lovely lipstick again. So we're just going around the edges to pick up some of that detail on the flower to highlight the petals. And then we've got a bit of daffodil to light for the centre and some light old olive for the leaves. Yeah. And then no Facebook Live video would be complete without a bit of fussy cutting from me. It's one of my favourite things to do. Yeah, so I'm just moving the paper to cut this out. Okay, so there we have our little flower, which I'm just going to pop on just there like so. It's nice to add to something a little bit more detail. So there we have that, and then to finish I have these lovely pearl basic jewels that are white. See those? And I'm going to change the colour of those, or one of them, for the middle of our flower. And all I'm going to do is just colour it over carefully and gently with our blend. So can you see? That's changed the colour of that really nicely, and I'm just going to leave that to dry for a moment before I lift it off. We have the centre of our card to finish. So here I have a piece that is just half a centimetre smaller, so it's 10 centimetres by 14.4, and we will stick that into our card. Like so. And then we will add a couple of little flowers. We will quickly colour. Lots of colouring tonight. Apologies if you're not a big fan of colouring. This is a really sweet little stamp though. It would look lovely stamped in a variety of colours. So that's the dark. And there we have the light. That dark picks up some of the detail which we want. And then we have a bit of light old olive on the leaves. Daffodil Delight for the centre. And then to match the front, I will just go round the edge of these flowers to act as a bit of a shadow, because I think it just makes them pop a bit more. There we have our two little flowers, just like so, to match the front. And then we have here, we have this lovely little pearl basic jewel that we've turned turned yellow with our blends, just for the centre of that little flower. Can you see that? Like so. And then to finish, one more sentiment inside. This says ever so much. So we've got thanks my friend on the front, and then inside we have ever so much in lovely lipstick. Evening Mum, thanks for joining us. Right, so here is the card that I made to start with, and we've recreated it live. All I've changed on this card is I've added a proper bow. The reason I didn't bow on this one is because I cut the ribbon too short. And then inside we have ever so much. Okay, so that is, we've used a bit of the Ornate style stamp, which is where the flower comes from, and the Ornate thanks. So let me just clear my desk down and I will grab the bits for the second card. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves. 2 seconds. Some card, and I'm going to use the Stamparatus because why not? And I'm going to use some pineapple punch and a bit of grey. I love a bit of pineapple punch. Right, so let's cut our card base to start with, and we'll take it from there. So for those of you that haven't seen one before, this is a Stampin'. It's a stamping platform, and the idea is it's for precision stamping. So it basically makes stamping a hell of a lot easier, and it gives you the chance to get things exactly where you want them. So let's pop that to one side, and I haven't made this card yet, so I'm going in blind. It may work, it may not. So I'm going to cut my card base to start with, and I'm going to have it as a normal opening card. So let's turn it round. We're going to pop it in so it's portrait, and we're going to take that to 10.5 centimetres and score. Okay. And then we're going to turn it round, pop it in at 14.9 centimetres, so just one before the 15, and cut. So there we have our 2 card bases, which if you were tuned in earlier you would have heard me say this is how we cut 2 card bases from one piece of cardstock. And then I've got a piece of Whisper White for my layer, which I want to cut the inside and the outside. So I'm doing a strip that is 10 centimetres wide by 14.4. So all I'm doing is I'm taking it down by 0.5 centimetre each time. Evening to everyone who's joining. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just on our 2nd card for the evening. Right, so the idea with the Stamparatus is, the magnet is, oh, there's pearls on my desk, that's why it won't sit properly. I'm just going to pop those back on the packet. 1, 2. Right, so the idea of the Stamparatus is, I'm just going to turn it over. So it's a stamping platform. So the idea is we have one leaf that comes down and one that goes over. Now I'm actually going to move this in a second. So because we're using a photopolymer stamp, we need this little foam mat in, and this is a piece of grid paper. Okay, so we're going to pop that in. Let's work this out first. So I'm going to use this big thank you stamp. So we're going to pop that in. I don't actually like popping it in at the corner. So I'm going to put it in, line it up with this 3rd line on this grid paper. Evening, and no worries, thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to pop that about there. So that leaves our piece of paper that we want to stamp on nice and secure in there with this magnet. And then we're using this thank you stamp like so, which we're going to pop in there, and the idea is we pick that up with this platform and then we move it down. So actually we want it in this side, so then you pop your that one over and pick it up. Now because that's moved, we know where it needs to be, we can just pop that in. This grid paper is really handy. Here we are. So now we can start stamping. So I'm going to stamp this in grey. So I have smoky slate, and this becomes your acrylic block as such that your stamp is attached to, and then you move that across, so you bring it back over, apply a little bit of pressure and lift off. Okay, so you can see where that's stamped exactly where we wanted it. Now it has missed a bit slightly, and that's because there's something on the stamp. I'm just going to move that off. Now the joy with this one is you just add more ink and you bring it back over and it stamps it exactly where you want it to be. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to add a bit more ink, and then you lift this up, pull it out all together, and you bring it down. So this will, again, put it in exactly the same position, and then we carry on. So now that is there like so. I'm going to add this other magnet so it keeps it in place for me. Move it down again. So each time I'm just adding ink and moving it down. Now this tool is absolutely amazing for when you're doing lots of different projects in the same design. See, look, it's not picked up the ink very well, or I haven't put enough ink on it. Just add a bit more ink and push it down and it does it perfectly. So this tool's been around for a little while now and I don't use it very often, but I'm always really chuffed when I do use it. Okay, so we're just carrying on with our pattern. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I don't think I've got enough room down there for that one. So we are done with that stamp, that one for the moment. I'm just going to grab something else. If I knew where it was, it's over here. Here it is. So the Stamparatus comes with two platforms. So you have this one here that we were just using, and we have this one. So I can pop that out of the way because it has my stamp on it and I don't want to get too mucky. And then now we can go in with another stamp. So we shall have thank you for all you do. Oh, let's see if this one will fit on. This one is from the bottom of my heart. Yes, see, that will look nice on there. We just need to get it on there. So this is another technique that is, this tool is great for using if you want to stamp in more than one colour. Sorry about this, I'm trying to get it in the right place. Right, so we've popped that on where we want it and we're going to pick that up. I'm going to put my other magnet back on. I'm just going to grab a different colour. Let's have a bit of, let's have a dark grey. Yellow and grey is my most loved colour combination. So we have now grey, basic grey. And then the idea is we do exactly the same as we did before. So that's thank you from the bottom of my heart. And then we'll pick that up. We've added our ink and it stamps exactly in the middle where we want it. So honestly, it's so effective. And it makes life very, very simple. There we go. So we'll just keep stamping that until the whole sheet is filled. What I'm doing is I'm just lifting it up and moving it down a notch each time. Like so. Okay, so there we have our background piece. You have to go really careful with these magnets that you don't get them, they don't stick together. Okay. So there we have our perfectly stamped background piece that we can attach to our card base. Now this is a really simple thank you card, which I'm sending lots out at the moment. So just like that. Now I'm not quite happy with this bit at the bottom, so I'm just going to snip that off because it feels like there's too much white space at the bottom. So I'm just bringing my trimmer back in. I'm just going to take off 1/2 centimetre and see how that feels. Yes, that feels better. I'm just going to take off a teeny little slither more. Much better. That feels now like it's the right size for our card front. So we can just pop that on our card like so. So a really, really simple thank you card to send out, which I'm actually sending lots out at the moment. Thank you for all sorts of different reasons. So they are. I'm going to pop that in the middle like so. And then our piece for inside. You don't have to add a piece inside, but I've cut it now, so I will add it. And I'm just going to stick that on. So I've used 3 of the 5 retiring colours tonight. And I'll recap that in a moment for you. Okay, so there we have our really super simple thank you card with just stamps, ink and paper. We've used the Stamparatus to stamp that, and I haven't got too messy tonight. That's not bad, is it? So there we have, thank you. I've stamped the thank you in smoky slate, and I've stamped the from the bottom of my heart in basic grey as our really simple thank you card for this evening. And then the more detailed card that I put together earlier looks like this. So we have another basic card base, we've got a bit of matting and layering. I've stamped using the small flower from the Ornate Style stamp set, which is currently available to purchase right now until the end of April. And we've repeatedly stamped that on the white and coloured it in with some blends. I've added this little grey outline which just makes the flowers pop, I think, from the card. We've cut these 2 dies out using the Stitched So Sweetly dies that are available in the January to June mini catalogue. We've done a bit of stamping using the Ornate Thanks stamp set. We've tied a bit of ribbon. This ribbon was originally white, like so, looks like that, and we've coloured it in with a stamping blend. I've punched these 2 holes using the corner triple punch, I think that's what it's called. And to finish, I've just added this little gem here, this little jewel that was white that again we've stamped with our blends, and then inside we've added a bit more detail. So those are tonight's 2 cards for you. They're using the retiring in colours for 2018 to 20. As I mentioned earlier on at the beginning of this video, if you do have any of those items on your wish list, or you want to keep using them after June, you must get in there quickly to purchase them, because once the retiring list comes out next week, they will sell out really super quickly. I will add everything to my blog after I finish this live, so you can find the full list of products there. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. And if you want to place an order, please remember to use the host code. I'm sending out a full packet of gems, champagne rhinestones to every customer who uses that host code throughout April. And that's it from me tonight. So thank you so much for watching, for being patient while I coloured in all these lovely flowers. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Wednesday. Thanks everyone, stay safe, look after each other, take care, and see you soon. Bye.